Okay, I've already thought of that. Here's the keyboard.
Wow.
I got USB lights are gonna kind of light it up. The little dials made from like Gatorade caps.
How's it going? Sure. My name's Zach. Welcome to the ZHZ Podcast. I have my talented co-host Matt. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm well today, Zach. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. And we have
Pleasure
our first...
to be here.
Yes. We have our first guest with us today. He's a good personal friend of mine. He has also been featured on Z Frequency, some of the Z Frequency songs, as well as he has multiple projects going on. We're going to dive all into that. Please welcome my friend, Jeff Huso. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm good, man. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we were just talking before we started pushing record about the where we first met. And I've known Jeff since high school, I believe. Mm-hmm. I thought he was cool because, like, there was this... everyone in my school would hang out in, like, little cliques, you know? And they had, like, the cool kids clique, and I seen Jeff there, and I kind of wanted to be a part of that clique. And he had a Front 2 4-2 t-shirt, and I thought, that guy is cool. And out of the whole group, I want to say you were probably the nicest one, to me anyway, so... we've kind of been friends ever since, man. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Then we were talking about Party Palooza. So, Matt, go ahead and kind of feel that.
So, Zach and I started playing together in 1991, forming a band called Deep Blue, and we were, we were writing music, we were playing, and in the summer of 1992, we had the bright idea of producing a show. And our friends from way back when, the Dellers, let us use their warehouse in West Layton, Utah. We spent an entire day clearing out the floor, setting up the makeshift stage, all of this stuff, and we called it Party Palooza. And
That's
was
right.
and it was just a few local bands. It was Deep Blue, I believe. Mr. Skinny Circus was on the ticket. And
was it?
Out
I don't
Rock.
know. I can't
remember
that. I'll just remember my performance. That's all I remember.
and Jeff was a member of Outcry. So we played our first show with Jeff 32 years ago, and it's only been it's only been 3 decades and change. But we were just talking about memories of that show, and that at Deep Blue we had gotten a little bit full of ourselves at the time and hadn't rehearsed any endings to any songs, and so every song we would play through, and then they'd all just kind of fall apart at the end.
Right. Do you remember? I probably shouldn't use her name. There was this girl that I we had this thing going on, and then it kind of fell apart, and then there was like this gap of time, and I remember telling her, "Hey, I wrote this song about you." And she's like, "Yeah," and I'm going to perform it on the show, and just say, just look out for it. And I'm going to say, "Hey, this one is for you." And I forgot to say it. I played the song, but I totally forgot to say it. And she's like, "You never said it." I felt horrible.
So Jeff, you ran into some instrument distress in that show, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, we opened the show. It was my first show as a legit band as well. So I had the first notes. I was on bass guitar. My friend Dale, he was a big bass player as well. So he's, hey, can I check it out? So I let him kind of fiddle around with it, and then he ended up popping the G string, and of course, we made a bunch of "you played with my G string" jokes and broke it, So we had some of those things. But he snapped the G string, and we didn't have any spares with us because first show, you kind of learn this stuff as you go along. Ended up finding one, I think, I can't remember where. I don't know. Somebody scored one. Strung it back on real fast. Didn't really know about how strings need time to stretch, and you kind of pull them a little bit.
Takes a lot of time.
Because it's the first bass guitar I ever played, and it's the first set of strings I ever had as well. So kind of learn as you go along, and it was flat for the whole show. I didn't know how to pay attention to the monitors, really. Did we have monitors? I think we did.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. We just had
I don't know.
You know what though? Like I'm sure all 30 people that were there enjoyed it. So
maybe.
But,
We
yeah.
have live.
I hope so.
We have a live recording of some of our set from that show somewhere.
it's
Oh,
awful.
that's
We
cool.
do.
That's
No.
cool. I remember
No.
Zach.
Yeah.
I remember Zach. Part of the lyrics of one of the songs, it got you banned from playing at Lagoon. Something about
no.
$50.
No, that was Leighton High.
For-
Oh, 50 only. Wow,
$50
that goes.
make
So
you
our
holler or
first
something
show,
like that.
our very very first show, was at the end
no.
of summer because Zach and I met working hustling games at Lagoon.
Okay.
And it was it was a song called Money Honey.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was and the lyrics
prostitution?
there's a part it's
Yeah.
a song about hookers. So
'Cause why not? You know.
yeah, absolutely. And the line of that song went, she's turning people on as lust runs through their minds, living off the sins of the ones she's left behind. She says, I can make you holler, I can make you holler, I can make you holler for only $50.
Yes.
17 years old, and Zach is writing this depraved stuff, and
Oh,
I knew instantly that this had to happen.
You know what, Huso? You should have sent me show notes because I wasn't prepared for that, man.
We're keeping it fresh,
you guys
man.
remembering stuff.
But I remember it.
And all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
But I remember it though. This is the kind of impression that you had on me. That's something that 32 years later, it's still with me. So
That's right. So I was
Thank
banned
you
from
for
performing at
this,
Lagoon.
And he was banned
Yeah.
from performing at Leighton High for dropping his pants on stage.
I got banned from performing at Leighton High for stripping on
He was
stage.
he was
At Leighton
he was
High?
doing
Leighton
he was
High.
doing Stone Cold Bush by the Red Hot Chili Peppers with what, Lomax, Ryan Stevens, and Greg Griffith, wasn't it?
Correct. Yep.
And he's up there, and he had gym shorts on under his sweatpants, but he's sitting up there jumping around the stage, and he drops his pants around his ankles and starts jumping around the stage, man.
I think that's mandatory when you're doing a Chili Peppers cover.
I mean, I thought it was mild.
Yeah.
You know, it's the PG version.
Zach's gone. Okay.
And then,
Hey, left nut.
hey, right nut.
Yeah.
Who's the penis in between us?
You're right. Sorry, man. Okay. Let's see.
If I wasn't in my studio, I would take a drink and then
Yeah.
spit it out.
Right.
So
Okay.
I don't want
So
to.
Jeff, tell me a little bit about how you got started. Like, what was your first instrument? How old were you when you first picked up playing music or thinking that
Okay.
it was something
Sure.
you wanted to do?
Probably the first thing that motivated me to want to play is Public Image Limited. I don't know if you guys remember that band. They were the
PIL?
first show-
Absolutely.
Yeah, PIL. They were the first show that I went to, and the guitar line for Disappointed. It really
Yep.
gripped me. So I saved my money from... I'm not going to say where I worked. I saved my money from my job. Ended up getting a guitar that kind of had this onboard speaker on the body. Kind of got it a little bit, had a little lesson. Someone kind of taught me how to tune it a little bit. Fast forward to the end of high school when I joined Outcry. I had a kind of like a little lesson with Mike. Mike was in jazz band, Mike Muramoto.
Okay.
Kind of taught me how to tune like the E, A, D, G, B, E, and then I was like, okay, I get it, and kind of taught me how to tune with the harmonics as well. Taught me a D chord and a C chord, or like a D. Not a
Just
D
like
minor.
basic chords.
Yeah, just a couple cowboy
Yeah.
chords. Caught on pretty good. Kind of went from there. I found. Do you remember that synth I gave you? That Roland synth?
Yes, I do.
That was probably my first synthesizer.
Wow.
Found it in a pawn shop in Salt Lake. So from there, I got synthesizer, guitar. I ended up getting this cheesy little 4-pad Yamaha drum machine. And
Drum machine?
I couldn't play drum. Or 4 pads. So
Right.
I didn't really know how to play. I was figuring stuff out. I used a karaoke machine.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, how did you record your stuff back then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, karaoke machine. So just cassette to cassette.
Karaoke machine, yeah.
Bounced over and over and over. So the final version of the song was just
a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yeah.
Yep, I know that. So my first recording,
yeah,
like legitimate recording setup was a Yamaha 4-track tape deck.
I ended up getting a 4-track after a bit. Saved a bunch of money. I got an Ensoniq EPS keyboard. So then it kind of blew my mind into multi-tracking, sequencing MIDI, stuff like that.
That's so funny you mentioned Ensoniq because I wanted an Ensoniq EPS, but then I ended up getting an Ensoniq ASR10.
Yeah, the step up.
Yeah, it launched. Like, I believe Matt and my first wife at the time, like, all of my friends all pulled together and threw money at it. And it was one of the coolest gifts I ever got. And it really leveled me up. Like, that was, I think that was the kind of starting point where I really started doing a lot with the synth side of things. So you mentioned PIL as a influence. What were some of your other influences that shaped the way you write music, or like one of those? Because everybody has a ton of bands that they love to listen to, but they always gravitate towards like, well, I kind of sound like these guys. So do you have any other influences? Or
yeah, back then I was really big into Ministry and Filter.
Yep.
9 Inch Nails, Filter. Of course.
9 Inch Nails. Yep.
Frontline Assembly. KMFDM was probably the biggest when it comes to guitar styling. So just a lot of
that's
fast
a foreshadowing
meaty...
of what we're going to be listening to here coming up. So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Word, yeah. So I think just those examples of bands that kind of put together songs with kind of like the instruments that I had, just a keyboard, the drum sequences, a guitar, if I'm lucky, and I just paid a lot of attention to them. Because,
so coming up through, you mentioned, you went out and bought a guitar after you saw PIL in concert. Was that kind of your aha moment, or was there a moment that you recall when just washed over you and you're like, that is what I want to do?
Very good question. I'm glad you guys are asking good questions. This is good.
Thank you.
An aha moment.
That was Matt's question.
Yeah. I think an aha moment. Probably listening to the Ramones.
The Ramones.
I know, I don't do a lot of stuff that sounds like that, but they did everything really simple. And the lesson I learned from that is they can do it. This is simple stuff, but it's so moving. I can do this. So I think I think that was probably my aha moment.
Awesome.
Nice. I think we all have it, right? As musicians, we all have that aha moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what you guys
Zach, unless I'm mistaken, Zach and my aha moment happened the same night, and this was almost 2 years before we ever met. It was October of 1989 at the Salt Palace. Boingo Boingo touring on their Alive tour.
I think I dropped.
Correct.
I went with a friend of mine named Zap Griffin, who
just keep going if you can. You're still there, I think, aren't you? Hold on a sec.
Yeah, I've got a thing that says trying to reconnect.
Actual recording is higher. Even if it drops,
Is
okay.
It still going? Okay.
Yeah. So just so you know, when you do it, even if it feels like it's dropping to you, it's not dropping in the final product. So just kind of just act like you can't, like just keep going. So anyway, go ahead, Matt. Say again where
so
you're.
Go ahead.
How are you able to? How much?
I can edit all of it.
Oh, okay, cool. So we can go back and we'll say.
So we're gonna pause this for a second because I'm gonna delete all this out. But let's say even you have a glitch or a freeze frame or whatever, just keep going along because the as long as you're in the studio, it's going to upload your file. Like, because right now, Jeff, you look all sorts of pixelated, but the final product you'll be high quality because it's uploading off your computer into the cloud. This is just like the. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back and basically, when you edit, you can just cut from when Jeff asks us if we have.
So you start in and
that
say,
aha moment.
If I
so
remember
I'll start
right,
in. Ready?
Yep. Go.
3, 2, 1. If I remember correctly, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, but our aha moment happened the same night, 1989 October at the Salt Palace. Oingo Boingo on the Alive tour. I had been invited to go to the show by a friend of mine named Zach Griffin. That was his, coincidentally enough, the day after that Boingo show, Zach Griffin went out and bought his first guitar, and he was the he's a career sound engineer. He was the guitar player for Sturgeon General, and so it was a big moment for him too. But I was there, and I'm watching Oingo Boingo play, and I'm watching. It was an amazing show visually, but it was simple. It was all stage props, and it wasn't a lot of fancy stuff. It was just using projections, and it was using light, but the energy on that stage and the fact that this band blew me away with their horn section. And as a trumpet player coming up through, everybody told me I could never play in a rock and roll band, including Dire Straits. But that moment, it was just like, yes, this is what I want to do. And that was the first conversation that Zach and I had the day we met in 1991. Was we started talking music. Hell yeah, who's your favorite band? Oingo Boingo. And both of us were what?
Yeah. Well, my experience with that night was my mom took me to that concert, and we had watched Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield, and the house party scene in that movie is Oingo Boingo on the stage at this house party playing, and we're like, oh, who is that? And we looked him up, and next thing you know, we got a cassette, and I burned that cassette, played it night and day, and she took me to the concert. So it was like my first real rock concert, and I was just instantly in a whole different dimension. Like everything around me didn't matter. I was focused, zeroed in on Danny Elfman, and completely hypnotized and mesmerized, and that was it for me. So come out of that telling my mom that that's what I want to do when I grow up, and she just kind of smiled and said good luck.
Nice.
So
have fun with that. Let me know how that turns out.
Right. So but yeah, cool. Well, moving on, you to this day you still do kind of everything yourself, right? So let's talk a little bit about your process of how you record, what the steps you are when you're writing, because I know you're in several projects. Sure. You've been in several bands. Right now you're currently in how many projects are you kind of doing right now? 4, right?
4 are active.
You have 4 that I know of, but 2 that you're kind of been working on.
Yeah, 2 that I'm pushing. But last year, all 4 had releases. So
we're talking, when you say 4, we have Machine Fetish, right?
Yeah,
and
Machine
then Trigger
Fetish,
Thieves.
that's been around since about 2000.
Right, that's one of your older
Thieves
ones.
Trigger Thieves since about 2013-ish, give or take a year. Then Spring Tank and Scheisse Katzen just started last year with EP drops in October.
Right. Okay.
2023.
So what is your process?
And Jeff has also been featured on Z Frequency.
Yes, he has. Actually, he's been featured playing guitar on Ghost, and he did bass for Good As It Gets, and he plays guitar on a song that hasn't come out yet. but I won't spill the beans on that just yet. So, yeah, very involved, man.
Cool.
Yeah. So there'll be probably more to come too, obviously. So I was just gonna say, like, kind of, absolutely. So your studio is behind you, right? That's you're sitting in it.
We got
the
AC-15.
I see amps.
Yeah, I haven't used this. I bought this one because I'm planning on doing some live shows with Scheisse Katzen. We can get to that later. But
is that your Marshall? Is that a Marshall?
Ready for it.
Oh yeah, the hot pink guitar.
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah, this.
It's awesome.
This Marshall I used on the first Spring Tank EP pretty heavily.
Okay.
I'm kind of gravitating toward IR pedals and IRs, just because there's less that can go wrong with them.
For us, less guitar.
Impulse response. It's what they do is they actually they run a clip of either white noise or pink noise, or just a weird, really low to high frequency sweep, just to get all the frequencies in there. They set mics up around the room or whatnot, and they can actually mic a cabinet, or they can kind of tap a cabinet just to get the signature of the frequency of the cabinet. That's replicated, so it's not exactly like a simulated one. It's more of like a Control-C, Control-V. So it's the actual thing, but it's just another... I don't know. I can't think of the words.
Yeah,
so anyway,
you totally lost
while you're
me,
playing through it,
that's all right though.
But while you're playing through
I bet
it plays the characteristics of the amp or of the room. Like they've done impulse response recordings of the Sistine Chapel and created reverb plugins, so you can sing in your home studio.
About. So it doesn't record.
Select the Sistine Chapel IR,
right?
So it's like you're really singing in there,
right? It records the response from like if you're doing it in a reverb, it records the reverb, not the actual sound. If I remember that right.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't record the sound, but it's the frequency and like for instance, if the room had say a big box in the middle, it would capture the data of the sound that you put into it, that sweep sound. It captures that sweep sound reflecting off of that box as well. So it'll do a perfect replication of the room, whatever's in it, whoever's in it, wherever the mic placement is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get impulse responses on amps that are close mic'd or, kind of off to the side.
Right.
Or
different variations.
Different mics as well, like a SM57 mic, or a 58, or a Rode, or a Neumann, whatever, and you don't have to spend like thousands of bucks. Yeah,
right.
And you don't.
So, and then when you're recording your stuff, what program do you use to record your stuff? So you record on GarageBand,
weirdly
right?
enough, yeah, I've stuck with GarageBand for 17, 18 years. It's a really straightforward app. So it's
no
like
shame in that, man.
Recording on a console, because I don't need a bunch of automation for the stuff that I do. But
well, yeah, right. Because you have amps and pedals and stuff that you use, and we can go into that a little bit here in a second. But another guitarist that we use, it was guitarist for Hooray Who, Chris Olsen. That's what he uses as GarageBand when he's laying tracks for stuff. So, no shame in that at all, man. Like I mean, when people ask me what DAW I use, people look at me like I have no idea. Yeah, they have no idea what they're like. What? So, I'm like, yeah, but a DAW is a DAW. So, all right, well, do you have?
So the process? Is that what you were?
Yeah,
the songwriting process.
So
is
usually,
that what you were asking?
Do you write like for example, do you tend to write the lyrics first and then the music behind it, or do you how?
Okay.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah,
what do you say?
In most cases, I'll come up with a tune in my head, then I'll write the lyrics to that tune, and everything just kind of comes out in my head, so I know how it's supposed to sound already. Mm-hmm. So when I record, it's really fast because I already know how the song is supposed to sound. Like when I bounce a song off of you, I've only been in the studio for like 4.5 hours, and I'm like, here's this.
I know. You're amazingly fast, dude. Like, but usually my response when you're like
a few tweaks after.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
so I kind of
you're like, hey, what do you think?
And I'm like, go. But...
Yeah, no, I mean, my process is not that fast. So, but I always was amazed at how fast you could get from a concept to recorded, and at that point, you're just doing some minor tweaks, like basically pre-mastering your mix,
just the car tests or whatever. I kind of feel like it's the only way that I can do it, though. Because if I sit on a song too long, it kind of leaves me.
It just
the ideas go, and my focus isn't there anymore. So
yeah, when I was
sense.
No, it totally does. Back in the day, before this, before real technology, whatever, I had a little tape recorder, and I had my little setup in my mom's garage because that's the only place she'd let me be loud in, And so it'd be late at night, and I'd come up with compositions all the time, and I'd take the recorder and just record, even if it was just like a couple of riffs or just these little pieces and parts. I have 2 hours of just different compositions, and I thought, well, if I could just at least record it, later if I want to reuse it, I can pull it back up and use it. You know what I mean? So so I wouldn't forget, because I would, as I'm recording it, I'm thinking of something else. So I totally understand that. Mm-hmm. So right on, man. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of your newer projects. So you had a recent release with your group Spring Tank.
Yeah.
And it's called Dispersal, if I'm right. Correct?
Yep.
And released in May of this year.
Yeah, end of May.
We've got a couple of in May, yeah. And what's kind of general theme with that album for you? Like what made you, like, what is the emotion behind that?
I would say the overall collective emotion of it is either self-doubt or kind of being let down by the promises that everyone's guaranteed you, that they've kind of backed off on, and they go, all right. So I think it's kind of a collective. I would say it's just past the woe is me. It's because I'm not really lamenting anywhere in it. I'm just kind of like,
I listened to the whole thing a couple of times today, and it very much, and just interesting that you touched on it's just past the woe is me. A lot of it feels like I'm over the woe is me, and now it's FAFO, man.
FAFO.
I'm fuck around and find out. Okay. You're about to hit the find out part. The one that really spoke to me, the one that really kind of hit me on a personal level was I Hope It Hurts. I think that the emotion that you captured in that song, and just that, I'm going to deal with my stuff, but I hope that you have to deal with yours too. And that was in fact, I ended up listening to that one 3 or 4 times this afternoon.
That's the last one.
It's a good work, man.
Thank you. That's the last one that I wrote, because I thought I was pretty much finished with the album, but then I woke up at night. Like the beginning line says, it talks about how I just woke up in the middle of the night, dreaming about this person trying to touch me, and I'm like, ugh, no, I've worked so hard to get past this. But somehow in the dreams it keeps coming back, so maybe I'm not over it. I don't know.
It's haunting you.
Yeah, it's kind of a haunt.
Yeah.
But
well, and then I think Spring Tank, go ahead and describe the genre, but I kind of put
Sure.
it in a haunting kind of genre in itself, you know, like with the guitars, and I considered it a shoegaze alternative, but I'm sure maybe you have a better title.
That's kind of what I see it as too. If I have to sum it up in to one genre, I've heard some genre called like power shoegaze or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, power shoegaze.
Maybe kind of like a crossover between pop punk and shoegaze. Just with the way that I do some of the guitar stuff.
It's almost like a late 90s, early 2000s kind of, like, yeah. That's kind of what I
like
I
a
thought
throwback,
of.
like a Catherine
It's got a
Wheel
nostalgic
type of
feel to it, but
band.
yeah, Charlatans
Definitely.
or was it Good Charlottes? Is that what I'm thinking of? The Good Charlottes, but
Charlatans.
we
I
have
think
a
Good
track
Charlotte's
that
more punk stuff. But...
Yeah. Okay. You gave us a couple of tracks to feature. One of them, we're going to feature one of them from Spring Tank, and this one is called Hollow. Do you want to set this up, and we'll go ahead and listen to it?
Sure. What's
this song about?
Yeah, kind of like I said when I was summing the album up. Just kind of, there's a line in it that says, "The best laid plans of mice and men left in ashes once again." So it kind of sets that vibe and tone, like, here we go. But
right, and then there was one, and in the lyrics here, so I pulled you can find these lyrics on both of the songs we're going to showcase today. We're going to do one by Spring Tank, and then we're going to follow that with Scheisse Katzen, and kind of go into that story a little bit, but you can find the lyrics for both of these songs, and I think all the stuff that you've got published, right, on Bandcamp, under the lyrics tab. I pulled it up, and I was thinking of the line, and when they do catch up to me, ring my doorbell eventually. When they look me in the eye, I'll take the chance to say goodbye. I thought that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty poetic. So
it's I expect things to come back.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I don't necessarily expect to shield myself from things, as I guess kind of the follow-up to the I'm past the woe is me, is I realize that I'm not impervious to the pain of experiences either. So that's what the line that Zach brought up points at. Because it's saying, hey, if something comes back to me, like I fully expect it to, at least I've learned something. I'm strong enough to say, fuck off. I've way too hard to back off,
Right,
Sorry,
that's kind of where that's like you were saying. No, we're not beeping nothing, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but I've just worked too hard to. I've worked too hard to repeat things. So I'm gonna let it be known to this person, hey, dude, no, what you did was not okay. And I'm standing up, so
but
I leave,
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's kind of what I thought I took out of it. Like, like you've dealt with some shit, but now
we can all swear.
I'm refusing to deal with it anymore, kind of thing. Like I'm over it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like, this is closure for me, whether you like it or not. This is closure for me. So.
Exactly.
So before we dive in, what's the instrumentation for Spring Tank? Do you have other members that contribute with you, and if so, who are they?
Instrumentation is a good thing to bring up. I have a crap ton of guitars sitting around. I brought up to a friend, hey, I really want to get a new guitar for my 50th birthday, but I morally feel like I have to get rid of these other ones. And my friend Caroline goes, you know what? Did you hear what Robert Smith did when he had this same problem? He said, okay, as long as I use each one of these guitars, I can justify hanging on to them. So I used each one of these guitars throughout the song. So it's like 9 or 10 different guitars. Huh?
Wow. So we're talking just this song. You went through all
Or no,
10
no,
guitars?
not just this song. Through the album.
Oh, okay, through the album. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
So, so for instance, this song starts off with the acoustic guitar, and
Right.
I don't use the acoustic in any other tracks in the album. So this is the
Okay.
acoustic spotlight. I use for percussion. I mainly sequence them.
Okay. Do you use GarageBand for that as well?
Yeah, I use GarageBand
okay.
for that as well. I kind of figured out a good drum kit, and then I'll separate each
Channel.
thing. Yeah, each part of the drum kit into its own channel, like a
Right,
kick,
so you can tweak the
toms.
mix. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. I do use a drum machine in this one as well, an Arturia drum machine.
Oh, cool.
And that's kind of I'm really influenced by Gary Newman as well, and the drum sequence on this song is like a direct lift of a lot of like mid 1990s Gary Newman sequences for his drums.
Cool.
So it's like a direct
Right.
copy. It's a total rip off.
All right.
But
There's nothing
and
wrong
then
with
some-
that. So
That's all
I think
music
I
is,
used
man.
bass, but- Yeah, it's Robert Levon Bean from Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, also a really big influence. His good phrase is rock and roll is not about getting away with a crime. It's all about committing one. Or maybe it's the
I
other way
like
around.
that.
yeah,
but-
no, that's
I
pretty
like
fun.
But
that.
it makes sense with
Yeah.
with
All right.
inspiration.
Well, should
and-
we go ahead and play it then?
Yeah, I'm talking way too much. Go ahead.
No, well, that's the whole point. You're our guest, man. So, if we're ready, we'll go ahead and give her a spin here.
Go for it. Yeah.
We're gonna play this song all the way through, and then we're gonna kind of brush over
Sure.
it really quick, and then we'll move on to your other project. Okay.
See you on the other
this
side,
is,
Ray.
Yep. See you on the other side. If you need to step away for a second, now will be the time once I get this going. So anyway, this is Spring Tank. The song is called Hollow. It's off the album Dispersal, and you can find it all over on the social medias. I mean, the DSPs, digital service platforms like Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Deezer, all that stuff. Correct? And
That's correct.
Bandcamp.
Yep. And
All right,
Bandcamp
so
free
here it
download.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, free. There you go, free download, folks. So check it out on a Bandcamp. But here's Hollow by Spring Tank. I gotta start it from the beginning. Okay, all right, and here we go. Ready? Okay, so here is Hollow by Spring Tank. Nice, dude. I love it.
I
Good
dig
song,
that
man.
tune,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Heck yeah.
Thank
So, yeah.
So
We'll
so
wrap that
so
up.
Jeff,
Go ahead.
that's all you though. So it's this is it's like it's a study in all of Jeff's personalities because you've got Spring Tank, and then we'll get to Scheisse Katzen here in a minute, and it's
Yeah.
not like Spring Tank at all, but it's
No.
but this is all you.
Right.
Yeah.
That is fantastic, man.
That's what I
Thank
love
you, man.
about you, man.
Yeah,
is
it's,
you are complete DIY. Like I know for a fact that your studio is obviously we always take parts of our home, right? But he's got a full house.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got kids. He's raising kids. He's got a lot of cats, and he's turned
to that.
his bedroom closet into a studio, and yeah, that's
Yeah.
where he makes
The-
this music, man. So it can be done. He is
Yep,
living
the camera's
proof
on
of
that side, and I'm on this side. It's small.
right, but it's everything
Well,
you
and
need.
that's
right?
one of
So-
the
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of what technology has provided for musicians and creators is
Absolutely.
that
Yeah.
it is you compare to where things were 10, 20, 30 years ago,
Yes.
and the ability for anybody to create and to put together, release, distribute, all of it. It's a lot. Technology allows us to be DIY a lot easier than it used to be.
For a lot cheaper too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's, and it's funny. I'm just gonna throw some. Go ahead.
I think the DIY thing, I think it's me just trying to prove it to myself that I can do it. And like nothing more.
Well, yeah, you keep on trying to convince yourself because we're convinced. So
right. I think
Thanks, man.
I think the fact that you share it is a good thing, because I don't know. I think part of it is, and maybe I can relate to that to some degree. It's like you kind of do it for self, like self enjoyment, right? You enjoy writing music and kind of doing your
Absolutely.
thing, but kind of a little bit further back, you're like, God, it'd be cool if somebody else really liked this stuff too, so I want to share it. But you don't have any expectations beyond that. Like, you have never, anytime you've ever put out an album, you're like, hey, I want to send you a CD, and I'm like, cool, how much? You're like, yeah, no, just give me your address. And you always do that. So it's like, you're not in it for anything other than just the thrill of writing music. So in a lot of ways, you're my hero that way. Like, I've always looked up to you that way. So I guess we just bounce off each other, for our qualities. But yeah, like personally, and we don't have to go into it personally, but on a personal level, just as a human being and a father, you're awesome. That's all I can say. But
thanks, man.
Yeah, so
I appreciate that.
Let's go ahead and let's talk about your what's that?
I appreciate it very much. Thanks.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna have Matt ask you about Scheisse Katzen.
I gotta know because I see you promote Scheisse Katzen. I've listened to everything that I can find. Your EP that you've got on Spotify, the whole thing. I can't get enough of this shit, man. It is so just absolutely so fantastically absurd and weird and awesome. And I mean, I took German in high school, so I double checked through my Google Translator, and Scheisse Katzen literally translates to shit cats. Is that correct?
Yeah, either shit cats or fucking cats. Kind of like really frustrated with cats. That's kind of how it goes. Yeah.
Give us the Cliff Notes on how it started, how you came up with it, why?
Sure.
Why Scheisse Katzen?
When they moved everything to work from home for my job, once COVID started, I would take all my breaks outside and everything. One day I went out there, I saw a little kitten sitting right against the back wall, kind of in my garden. The thing was totally emaciated. There were flies like by its mouth and its butt, and it was kind of looking at me like, and it was May, so it was a good 100 degrees, kind of a mid to long-haired cat. So I'm like, all right, I guess we have a cat now. So brought that cat inside. This was after I got custody of my kids, so I'm like, okay, kids, you guys take care of the cat, make sure it's got water, and we put it in a little Rubbermaid tub. My next break, I go outside. There's two more cats. One of them both of his eyes were gooped shut, so it was just kind of meowing at the sky like, why have you forsaken me? That type of thing. And another cat was kind of stuck between a rock and the back fence. So I'm like, all right, we have 3 cats now. A couple hours later, I get off work. We're going to take these cats into PetSmart because I'm like, I don't know their shape. Oh, to preface this, almost forgot. A couple days before, I found a dead cat kind of squashed in the road in front of our house. So I'm like 99.9% certain that was the mom. And these kittens just kind of were like, okay, we're hungry, we gotta figure life out. I guess, but... Yeah. So we go to take him to PetSmart. I ask my youngest, I go, okay, did you lock the back door? And he goes, I don't know. So I go, okay, no problem. So drive back home, go out, I check the back door, and I'm like, okay, so I, walk over to the back of the yard, look over the cinder block wall, and there's another kitten, kind of looking around. It's got one eye gooped shut, so it's like a patch. Named that cat Captain. That's the song that we're going to listen to. That's about Captain, because she's turned out to be really chunky. But so I'm like, okay, we got 4 cats now. And my thing that I always say to them whenever they're puking and, you know, crapping and smelling up stuff and
being
eating
cats,
all the food and stuff like that, is I always go, man, you guys better make me millionaires or something somehow. You guys better make me rich. But I don't think they will. But one of the songs off the album, it's skills to pay das vet bills. True story. One of the cats wouldn't eat, and you know, I go in there and have to pay like $600 for an X-ray and all that stuff, and so I'm like, what can I do so this doesn't suck so bad? And I kind of turned to what I know how to do, so I wrote a stupid song about it. And it turned into a bunch of stupid songs.
But why German techno?
Industrial. Why German metal industrial?
I think the
it's just this.
Yeah, I think the mix. I think the humor comes out in the perceived confusion with the language translation. First song on the album is called "Show Me Your Kitties," or "Everyone Show Me Your Kitties," because we know, you know, as people who speak English, kind of where that goes. But if there was a German guy, you know, a German guy that has no concept of it, he's like, "Serious, show me your kitties," and meanwhile, everyone else around him is dying laughing, and the guy who doesn't have the concept of the language is like, I don't understand what's so funny. That's rock.
Right.
You know?
That's how I perceive it. It's like a
effect.
couple of
so
German
it's just
guys.
A complete... Yeah, and I did create 2 personas for this. There's one guy that kind of does this weird little high-pitched voice. I'll actually knock the formant up on it in the voice... like
pitch? Change the
I'll
pitch
do an
on
adjustment on the track.
Yeah.
Kind of like a pitch bend a little bit. And then the lower one, you know, of course I'm thinking Rammstein. So I kind of knock that pitch down a little bit just to try to separate it out into 2 people. Mm-hmm. And then the tracks will reference both people as well. Like, you know, Dieter is this guy and Klaus is this guy. And the only reason that I named him that is because it rhymes with one of the words that was in one of the songs.
So yeah,
and
so
like,
your
singers
have names. It's a metal industrial band about shit cats, and it started off as a joke, right? So wasn't there like so you're from Phoenix, Arizona, right? Or that's where you're currently residing.
Yes.
And there's if I remember right, there's a local radio station. They do a contest for local bands. You wanted to submit, and you didn't really have a band, so you created Scheisse Katzen and submitted it, and then what happened?
Well, I was just expecting to make someone laugh. 30 bands submit songs, and they are really good. They are really, really good. So I was expecting mine to be this, like, crappy mulligan... you know, thing, but people would remember it. Top 5 bands battle it out live, and then whoever gets first place wins like $2,000. They get to write the theme song that they play on the air for the morning show for the next year. Like every morning they play the song.
That's cool.
I got 3rd place in the thing, so I was like, place. Oh no!
So you had
want me to play it tonight.
So you had to come up with a live show for this.
I bailed on it
live
because
I
bailed on it because I don't practice the songs. I just studio them out and boom, here's the song. So I was 0% prepared. So I sent him an email and I'm like, you know what? I don't have my Scheisse together, so put the next band in.
that's
We're still
rad.
going to watch everyone play. But
So you instantly had a fan base based on a band that you created as a joke for a radio show. Like,
Yes.
it's just a cool story, man. And I think you are.
Oh, it's badass.
Are you planning to do anything live with Scheisse Katzen, or is your live set that you plan on doing, like a solo set, is that going to be for Spring Tank?
it's for Scheisse Katzen, because I think I'm going to enter that contest one last time.
So yeah,
And
so
that's-
he's going to
that's
enter the
what this
contest
guitar
again,
is
and then this
for.
time, if he gets picked to be on stage, he is going to. I love this story, man.
if you need people to dress up in like black pleather and just stand there and touch buttons on keyboards that aren't plugged in and just play to a backing track, Zach and I are totally in.
He's already thought of that.
Actually, hold on 1/2 second here.
All right,
Like 2 seconds.
All right.
this is why I didn't want to tell you about it, because I was going to have you hear it for yourself, dude. This is
Oh man.
it's hilarious. Yeah.
Okay, I've already thought of that. Here's the keyboard.
Wow.
I got USB lights are gonna kind of light it up. The little dials made from like Gatorade caps.
That is
Made
rad.
of, what is it made of?
An Amazon box.
Yeah, it's made of cardboard.
Just an Amazon box, and I printed up the keyboard. I got a foot controller, a foot switch, because my hands are going to be full. I'm going to be playing guitar.
Right.
So I'm going to kick on the foot switch, and you know those flailing arm dudes? This guy's going to pop up behind it. So
He's got it. He's got it all
figure-
thought out, man.
I figure
man.
it's the best I can do, keeping it DIY as a one-man thing.
And
It's better
and not
than
look
me
weird
just
by
standing
yourself.
up there. Yeah,
I think that's the
this
biggest
way I can
fear,
actually
isn't it?
pull it off. The what?
I said
Say again?
that's kind of. I think that's my biggest fear too. Is like I have no problem. I think performing. I did it actually. I did it earlier this year at a bar. It was like a open mic, and I just played to like a track, and it was exactly how I thought it would be. It was really awkward. But everybody
Yeah.
else was in that same awkward position, you know. So I get where you're coming from. Like you want to have something people can watch besides just staring at you.
Right.
But I think it's brilliant.
And the thing is I want to target that awkwardness first. I want to run toward the fear instead of back away from it and not play.
Right.
So
That's
the more
awesome.
stupid I can make it look, if someone else says, "Oh, that's stupid," I'm like, "Duh."
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
You
whole
know,
point.
Of course
So-
it is, but I'm on
But
stage
it's
and
fun
you're not.
and it's entertaining and it's and you
Yeah,
know what?
it's entertaining,
You're going
it's
to give them
goofy.
something they've never seen before. And
Hopefully,
if you
that's
can
for
do
sure.
that in this life, and that's the thing, man. It's like that's
yeah.
the big challenge because the more time goes on, the more everything's been done. And if you can find something that people haven't seen before, man, then that's a W. That's a big win. As
Right,
a creator,
it's,
as a performer, as an artist.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if something happens to the keyboard, it's just cardboard box. Who cares?
Right.
I'll just
There
throw
might
it
be a
out in the
little bit of a
crowd or
tear.
something.
A little
I don't
bit.
know.
Oh man, I worked really hard on that box. But
All right, so the track we're going to listen to is Chungus Among Us.
Yep.
And this is from the album Zwei,
Zwei. It's
which is
Zwei,
German for
okay.
two.
nice.
I love it. I love
Nice,
it,
man.
This
job.
this shit just puts a smile on my face. It's fun to listen to. Lyrically, it's very very clever. It's Scheisse Katzen, if you have ever owned cats or ever interacted with cats in your life, it resonates. It's funny because it's true. And it's really it's just tremendously creative, and I can't say enough nice shit about Scheisse Katzen, man. For real,
thanks, man.
It's brilliant.
I can smell that song.
Good.
And now that one you said is about Captain, the kitten that ended up being the chunky one, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
This one inspired me because when she's coming down the hall, like in the chorus, she kind of does this thing, and her guts doing this, and it's like swinging like this. And
the sway belly,
swagger,
man.
The cat swagger.
Yeah. It just kind of, I was like, man, that's a lot of, and that's just kind of where that one all started. And there's a lot of references to the cats puking and stuff all over, like in all the songs. And
no,
cat
it is.
ownership.
It's everywhere. And,
So-
and I'm thinking over on the tile, and in my head it's like, well, thank God it was on the tile.
yes,
It's easier to clean up.
yeah,
And this Scheisse Katzen Zwei.
Zwei.
Spy.
Yeah. Like
Oh
Z-
my God.
Zwei.
So
Drei,
Scheisse Katzen
vier,
Spy
fünf.
just recently came out early August. Is that right? So you guys can, people can check it out now on Spotify and all of those platforms as well. Cool, man.
Yep, got a couple.
I hope
a couple guest singers on it as well, or one guest singer. The guy that actually won the radio contests.
Uh-huh.
That's right. You wanna
does
plug him
vocals
real
on
quick?
a couple of the songs. Sure.
he was also
Yeah,
in
Mike
a
Lee.
cool band called Mike Lee. Yep, called Goth Brooks.
Goth Brooks.
Is that right?
And yeah, and he's got another project. He wants to kind of keep that separate though, so I won't mention it.
Right. I just
But
did.
yeah,
But yeah.
Yeah,
No,
you
his
didn't mention
other
it.
current
Zach
project.
did.
yeah, the
Yeah.
the Goth
Okay.
Brooks project is over for now.
Right.
But a very talented guy. Holy crap. He's
That's cool.
also an author. Yeah, he published
Okay.
a book about his life in the hotel business, and really good vocalist. Holy crap, dude! And he's got an album coming out as well, so
Oh, nice.
you can
Nice.
look him up.
Right on.
Mike Lee, or you
Okay.
can reach out to me, and then I'll kind of message you with.
I'm
steer you
sorry
where to
if
go
I
for it.
visibly shuddered. Utah, we have our own Mike Lee, and it's nobody that
Right. That's
that I'd
right.
buy an album from.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I remember somebody took a picture of the sign, and I'm like, hey.
Hey,
So-
look, you're famous.
Wrong
Not
guy,
for good
yeah.
reasons. Don't go to Utah, man. Change your name.
Don't do it.
So, what's next for you, man? So, what's in the docket for Jeff Huso?
Musically, right now, I'm mostly just running through a live set over and over and over and over again, till I can just do it with my eyes closed.
Yep.
Just all muscle memory. Dave Hunsaker reached out. He kind of wants to start like a harder edged project, so that's kind of an idea right now. That's
Cool.
kind of floating around. We'll see where that goes. We'll see if something happens with that.
Cool.
Really good.
Yeah, we'll probably have
musician and
Dave on the
producer.
show here for too long. He's on my short list for guests. So,
Cool. He knows so much, and yeah, I really look up to both of you guys. Like, we talked about
aw, man.
me being like, not really confident in things, but you guys
Whatever,
are like,
dude, you're
like I
great.
feel like I'm amongst giants when I talk to you guys,
Yeah.
and when I bounce ideas
Well,
off, I'm like,
y-
wow.
You're a hero to me too, man.
So thank you.
That's much respect, and back at you, dude. Let's see. We're just gonna wrap this up now. I think we're kind of near the end here. Where can people find you? We already mentioned some of the platforms like Spotify. Musically, like you have
Yeah.
all of the usuals. But where, if they want to find you on any socials, where do you kind of hang out?
Sure. Mostly Facebook.
Okay.
It's just Spring Tank and Scheisse Katzen. I started a couple Instagrams, the Spring Tank AZ and Scheisse Katzen Official. I don't check those a whole lot. I try to keep things simple. Facebook's probably easiest.
Okay.
We are men of a certain age. We do favor Facebook, so I've been told.
Yeah. So
Right.
I like, and it's funny because you're bringing up kind of the same stuff that Z Frequency is going to be doing, like the live show. Like that's kind of a new door we're going to be opening up soon, and it's been pre-planned, you know, because right from the get-go, it's like, well, are we going to do this live? I'm like, yeah, eventually, you know. Like for me, it was just let's just try and grow. So that's why I'm putting songs out and stuff. And come fall, we're going to start kind of doing what you're doing, where we got to figure out how that's going to look if we do a live show, because we'll probably have rotating musicians within shows. It'll probably be a handful of guys like Matt and maybe Michael Esco, and the same 3 or 4 guys that will always be available, but there may be members that come in and out. And yeah, so we're working on that. What I was trying to say was, during that process or throughout this year, I've learned there's certain demographics that at least Z Frequency kind of gravitates to, and that's basically people our age. And so we have presence on many platforms like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, but Facebook seems to be the winner. You know, like that seems to be where we get the most engagement. And I try to grow Instagram. TikTok, I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like I'm like a foreigner in some land I don't speak the language to, but we're working on that. But yeah, so I just, at this point I'm like, I guess we just own it, you know, like, because everyone, like my daughter's like, yeah, Facebook is for boomers, you know, and I'm like, I guess I'm a boomer then, but it's still the preferred platform for me to get my info. So.
I mean, it's to the point now where it's like we might as well just hire our kids to be our social media managers, because they know how it works and they know what's cool, and we clearly don't.
Right.
Yeah, like I did not know that Ohio Riz means something besides Ohio, and the slang that they use is like skibbity toilet Riz. Have you ever heard of that?
All right. Hey, man, it sounds cool to me. But as soon as I learn what it means,
it's not cool though. What
it's
I'm
not
saying
cool
is,
anymore.
You look it up, and it's not.
What does
cool.
it mean?
Like,
I don't even know what it
cringe,
means. But
like cringe charisma, like his charisma is just it's cringy. You know, like it's over the top cringy. And Ohio is more like sleazy, like bad, like somebody who would try to use poor pickup lines. Like somebody who has no clue on how to do pickup lines, or that's
I'm
like
sure
somebody
Cleveland
who's trying
has
really
something
hard
to do with it being lousy.
I have no idea, but it makes sense. But yeah, they've got this whole language.
Sorry,
that
Cleveland.
My daughter is very good at, and I feel like that old guy.
Remember that
one
time where the podcast just went off the rails, man, and we started trying to figure out slang?
Exactly. So. Anyway,
bitchy,
all right.
man.
Well, I really appreciate you being our first actual guest on the show,
And-
Jeff.
Well,
Thank you.
Isn't that what friends are for?
Yeah.
Keep
It's
So,
smiling.
called bringing it back full circle,
Keep
man.
shining.
Full circle.
anything you want to share with the
isn't
audience?
That what friends are for? What friends are
Bring
for?
it in.
How
Bring
did
it
we
in.
start our show
Bring it
today,
in.
guys? Come on. I've been holding on to that the whole damn time.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to share with us before we say our goodbyes and in the episode? All right. Okay then. Let's
Here.
Me too, man.
Share that.
So we've got Jeff's going to be participating in an upcoming Z Frequency track that has yet to be named. It's
right. It's still a whip, but it's probably really close. So it should be released in September. Yeah, it'll be released next month sometime. So yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, guys, I want to say thank you. You're awesome,
right.
Jeff. And dude, you got to come back.
Thank you.
I want you to tell the story next time about a unexpected visit in the middle of the night that you actually caught on camera.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Okay.
Yeah, you know that. It's craziest story. Like I swear to God, the craziest shit happens to the craziest stuff happens to this dude. I love it. I guess you just have to live in Phoenix to know, So But yeah,
I know.
We'll save that story for another time, man.
I got to see if I can find the. I have security camera footage of it. I've got to see if I can find it. Well, maybe not,
so
because they're not going to allow it on YouTube.
Yeah, we'd have to blurry some stuff out, but I don't know. We don't have to show the video, but we can tell the story. That's for sure. So, all right, man. Well, I will.
Okay.
I'll go.
I'm down. I'm down.
Okay, cool. Well, it was great having you on, Jeff. Much love, brother. And I guess we'll go ahead and see you on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Z Frequency Podcast. Jeff Huso is proof that with determination and a little creativity, you too can create marvelous things. Until next time, my friend, have a splendid day.